Minasan, konnichiwa, Zamurai Engineer desu. In this video, let us continue with the standard for road signs and markings. So let us now discuss about the next set of signs, guide signs, or information signs. So previously, we already talked about the R type and the W type. So this time, guide signs or information sign is type G. Guide signs inform road users about the direction and the distances of destinations on the route they are following or along other roads that intersect their route. They also supply information to identify points of geographical or historical interest and give direction to rest areas, camping or parking areas. Guide signs do not normally lose their value by frequent use, but they can be ineffective unless attention is given to their proper location and the clarity of their message. So there are several categories of guide signs. So type G, 1-1 to G1-6. These are called advanced direction signs. Okay, and of course they must be installed in advance of an intersection. So going to somewhere else, going to this direction, that direction. So advanced sign. And the lane designation signs, that is GE2-3. Another category is those installed at intersection itself. These include intersection direction signs, G2-1 to G2-4, and fingerboard signs. That means G4 signs. Another third one, those on departure from intersection. So before the intersection, at the intersection, and from the intersection. These are assurance direction signs. Okay, we are assuring the road users that they are making the right way or not making it correctly. So those are belonging to G3-1 and G3-2. And the last category are those installed on expressways. The GE sign is described in section 5 of this manual. So mostly GE signs are those for expressway, guide signs for expressway. So guide, G, and expressway E. So GE category signs. Okay. Classification of guide signs. So there are 9 classification of guide signs. We have G1 advanced direction signs. We have G2 intersection direction signs. G3 reassurance direction signs. So these G1, G2, G3 are the signs that are installed before, at, and after the intersection. And we have fingerboard direction signs, G4. G5 are street name signs. Okay, very important to have those street signs. As a road users, I usually use those signs because you are looking at those signboards because you don't know the place, you don't know the area, or you are confirming the road name as it reflects on the map. So those are very important. And G6, town name and geographical feature signs. G7, service signs. Okay. And G8, tourist information and tourist destination signs. G9 are those route markers. Okay? So let's proceed how this type of signs are to be designed in accordance with certain standard. So shape, color. Let's talk about the shape. Guide signs are generally rectangular in shape. Where applicable, they should be designed with long axis horizontal. So it is like this. Rectangle, horizontally placed. No? Exception to this rule are route markers, which are normally on a shield of distinctive shape and kilometer post. So kilometer post could not be made rectangular in a horizontal direction. Okay. Color, word, symbols, borders of guide signs should be reflectorized in all colors except black that contrast with the background of the sign. Okay. So the background color should be easily recognizable by motorists as being applicable to the particular category of guide signs for which it is used. The color combinations which shall be used are as follows. Black legend and white background. White background, so black legend, information signs, street name, and kilometer post. Okay. White background and black. Next, we have white legend on standard green or blue background. Green or blue background with white legend. Advanced direction signs, intersection and special direction signs, and reassurance direction signs, including signs giving direction to expressways from adjacent road and street system. Another set, white legend on blue background. Signs indicating roadside facilities, services, and legends used. Okay. And the last one, white legend and brown background. Those are for tourist interest or tourist information. What about the size? There are standardization of guide sign size is not practicable due to the variety of legends used. The size adopted will depend on the required letter size, the number of words in the legend, symbols used, and the general arrangement. The likely visual impact of the sign must be considered in relation to its location, background, and surroundings. So, very little standardization, particularly because of these reasons. Okay? Special attention should be given to single name direction signs, having short names to ensure that the visual impact of the sign is not lost by economizing on its overall size. So economy is not a priority when giving signs. Okay? Safety, giving information is the important priority. Okay? So type of lettering used, okay, not arbitrary. So we have to use standard alphabets, okay? Whether the legend, the guide signs should have capital letters only, lowercase letters, or a combination of the two is either described or illustrated for each type of sign. General, the destination of advanced direction signs, intersection signs, reassurance direction signs, and expressway signs should have initial capital letters followed by lowercase letters. So those are the type of lettering that must be followed. Size of lettering, a driver approaching a guide sign should have a sufficient time to read it before it passes from its normal field of vision. The distance at which a sign can be read is a function of letter size and spacing, while the time available to read it depends upon the number of words and the speed at which the sign is approached. Okay. If a sign has to be located outside the driver's normal field of vision, the size of lettering should be increased. This applies to roadside signs on and some roadside signs on multi-lane roads and to a lesser degree to cantilevered signs and some overhead signs. Aha. So, literary spacing. Literary spacing of the legend on the road sign depends upon the other things on spacing between individual letters. Okay. Legibility. Distance is greater for widely spaced. Letters than for closely spaced letters. Okay, so we got continue. How much legend have to be used? The principal legend on the gate sign should be limited to the number of words a driver can read, and in time he can turn his attention from the road to the sign. His vision, his focus is going back and forth road to the sign. Desirably, a gate sign should carry not more than 3 lines, okay? Not more than 3 lines. That is a desirable standard, or 3 destination names. However, up to 5 lines or names may be used in special cases. Distance indication. When distances are shown on guide signs, the following rules shall apply. We have number 1, the distance shall be shown in meters for distance up to 999. And after that, therefore, the distance shall be shown in kilometers. In 0.1 km increments for distance from 1 kilometer to 4.9 kilometers. The distance shall be shown in 0.5 kilometer increments for distances from 5 kilometers to 9.5 kilometers. So there are different set of precision according to the how far are the distances that have to be shown on the guide signs. And lastly, to the nearest kilometer for greater distances, meaning for 10 kilometers and above, we are going to use 1 kilometer. Meaning we have to round up. We have to round up to the nearest kilometer, 1 kilometer. While between 5 kilometers to 9.5 kilometers, we are rounding up to 0.5 kilometers. And less than that, we are rounding up to 0.1 kilometers. So those are the rules. Okay. So it must be reflectorized and most probably better to be illuminated. Okay, so and how should it be placed, or where it should be located? Generally, roadside guide signs should be located on the right side of the road. Okay, so that is, of course, the standard in our country because our vehicle is left-hand drive. So left-hand drive vehicle, so we are going to look at the right side of the road. Okay. In some circumstances, the sign may be mounted above the carriageway. Okay, meaning in the road itself, not on the right, not on the left, but in the road up. There is a post or 2 posts, and there is a horizontal provision for these signs to be fixed into. The lateral placement and height of those guide signs shall be in accordance with Section 1.8.2. So it is a policy. It is a government policy to provide uniformity and standardization of this sign. And the enforcing government agency is DPWH. And because it is DPWH, our civil engineering students are therefore required to learn about these things. Normally, guide signs should not be erected in medians unless they have a special relevance to traffic traveling in median lane. So median meaning, in layman's term, it is the island. It is the island of the road. Okay, so it is a portion of the road wherein it is actually dividing the lanes into two, dividing the road into two at the middle, almost at the middle, usually at the middle. It is not always the case 100%, but usually at the middle of the road. For example, if the road is 5 lanes, 2 lanes going out and 3 lanes going in, it could be somewhere at the middle, but it's not exactly at the middle. So the island is an obstruction for vehicles not to be able to go to the other side of the set of lanes. Okay, so for example, that is usually used for what? To divide the direction. So these lanes are going out, these approaching lanes going in. So there is a division to divide this purpose of the road. Okay. At channelized intersection, some guide signs need to be erected in traffic island. Okay. Traffic island is also used. Traffic island meaning at the centers there is some soil or obstruction or structure or even box, or just like the police box or traffic police box. So those are some of the traffic islands being used in our country or on the right side of the road. Usually, really, it is on the right side of the road. Okay? If this cannot be achieved, guide signs should be on the side of intersection where the driver is likely to be looking if he is required to execute turn. However, in all cases, the signs should not obscure driver's vision of other approaching traffic or pedestrian. What do you mean by that? If the sign is turn left, therefore you have to what? You have to put one of the set of the signs in the left side so that the driver is looking at the side. So, however, try to prevent obstruction in the driver's side of vision. Okay. Use of supports for guide signs. Supports meaning the post or other similar structure. Road signs. The size and number of supports required together with typical mountings in the spacing between posts are in the Appendix A. So we have the guide plan. So as a civil engineer, later on, we might have an opportunity to get into or involved into a project putting up road signs. There are plans, there are engineering plans for these supports and making up of the sign itself. So we have to follow this. standard. So from time to time, it would be updated. So in our country, it is not regularly updated. So we just have to be vigilant enough to, from time to time, check on the DPWH department order. So usually it is being published as a department order of DPWH. What about overhead signs? So we have the following type of support. Typical method of supporting overhead sign as shown in this picture. So here, okay, overhead sign, but we are only using one post or one column. So it is a cantilever type of support. So that's why it is letter A, cantilever support. So we have the following dimension: 5.5 meter minimum from the road surface to the sign, no, to the lower edge of the signboard. Okay, so 5.5 meters, and if there is a safety railings on the side of the road like this, as you can see, that is supposed to be 0.6 meters, 0.6 meters from the post, okay, from this cantilever post, okay, 0.6 meters minimum, okay. So there are roadside safety railings like this, particularly in expressway or national roads. National roads, that is a requirement. So 0.6 meters minimum. Height, 5.5 meters. Okay. So for gantry support, so it looks like this. So there are two posts on either side of the road. Then there are beam support. Okay, usually steel. No? These are usually steel post and steel beam. Okay, so again, the height from the top of the road surface is 5.5 meters minimum. Okay, and also again 0.6 meters from the post to the safety railing of the side of the road. So those are overhead signs. And the last type of support is what we call butterfly. So we have cantilever support, we have gantry support, we have butterfly support. So butterfly support, there is only one post, but the post have to be have to be put in the middle of the road. In the middle of the road. We are in the middle of the road. So this is the middle of the road, possibly an island. Then from this to this, that is one side of the road, and from this to the other is another side of the road. So the purpose is both lanes. We will have guide signs on both lanes. If you can compare to the gantry support, okay, we have this information posted on the steel beams, and look at the other side. That is the opposite direction traffic. The guide signs are posted on the other side, facing the other side. It faces the other side also. So therefore, we know that the traffic used in this road is two-way traffic. There are two-way traffic there. Okay. And by that, that ends this short video for the introduction and specification, concept and principle details, plans, and rules regarding the guide science and information science. Please wait for our next video that will explain the different types of guide science from G1 to G9. Again, this is Dr. EYPEI, preaching engineering for nation building.